Hello, and welcome to Tales for Life. In each episode of this podcast, we'll explore a folk or fairy tale from a different culture or region and discover the life lessons, values, and morals they offer that we can use today. Join me on the journey through the magical and meaningful world of folk and fairy tales. Welcome to another episode of Tales for Life, the podcast that journeys through life one tale at a time. If this is your first episode, thanks for joining me. If you've been here before, welcome back. Either way, be sure that you subscribe so that you never miss an episode. This week, I'm paying tribute to one of the best-known tellers of tales with meanings. And by that, I of course mean the ancient Greek storyteller, Aesop. This episode is therefore titled, appropriately so, A Little Aesop Goes a Long Way. Many of the most valuable lessons in life are simple ones. Be kind to others. Don't be greedy. Enjoy today, but plan for tomorrow. And while many of us will cringe or stop listening if we're told these lessons directly, we eagerly embrace them when they're part of a story, particularly one involving animals. This is why Aesop's fables, the vast majority of which feature animals, are so loved even today, more than 2,000 years after they were first recorded. Some of Aesop's fables are familiar to just about everyone, such as the ant and the grasshopper, the town mouse and the country mouse, or the fox and the grapes. Others are equally good, but not nearly as popular or well known. I want to feature a little of the known and unknown here, because all of their lessons are worthwhile. As a side note, due to the change in language from 2 millennia ago, I'll be using the word donkey to refer to the animal in the first fable because the original word has a different connotation today than it did back then. And with that, let's begin with a tale that warns us about who we choose as friends: the donkey and his purchaser. A man wished to purchase a donkey and agreed with its owner that he should try out the animal before he bought him. He took the donkey home and put him in the straw yard with his other donkeys, upon which the new animal left all the others and at once joined the one that was most idle and the greatest eater of them all. Seeing this, the man put a halter on him and led him back to his owner. On being asked how, in so short a time, he could have made a trial of him, he answered, "I do not need a trial. I know that he will be just the same as the one he chose for his companion. A man is known by the company he keeps." This next tale is a great one for many of us, especially in this day and age of likes on social media. It's titled, The Fox and the Crow. A fox once saw a crow fly off with a piece of cheese in its beak and settle on a branch of a tree. "That's for me, as I am a fox," said Master Reynard, and he walked up to the foot of the tree. "Good day, Mistress Crow," he cried. "How well you are looking today! How glossy your feathers! How bright your eye! I feel sure your voice must surpass that of other birds, just as your figure does. Let me hear but one song from you, that I may greet you as the Queen of Birds." The crow lifted up her head and began to caw her best. But the moment she opened her mouth, the piece of cheese fell to the ground, only to be snapped up by Master Fox. "That will do," said he. "That was all I wanted. In exchange for your cheese, I will give you a piece of advice for the future. 'Do not trust flatterers.'" This next fable has always been one I've enjoyed, and indeed there are several tales throughout the world echoing its moral that it's not your outside appearance that matters. It's called The Jay and the Peacock. A jay, venturing into a yard where peacocks used to walk, found there a number of feathers which had fallen from the peacocks when they were molting. He tied them all to his tail and strutted down towards the peacocks. When he came near them, they soon discovered the cheat, and striding up to him, pecked at him and plucked away his borrowed plumes. So the jay could do no better than go back to the other jays, who had watched his behavior from a distance. But they were equally annoyed with him and told him, "It is not only fine feathers that make fine birds." Along the same lines is this next fable that reinforces the idea that we shouldn't try so hard to make ourselves seem more than we are. Or, more simply put, puffing ourselves up might not be such a grand idea. It's titled, The Frog and the Ox. "Oh, father," said a little frog to the big one sitting by the side of a pool, "I have seen such a terrible monster. It was as big as a mountain, with horns on its head and a long tail, and it had hoofs divided in two." "Tush, child, tush," said the old frog. "That was only Farmer White's ox. It isn't so big, either. He may be a little bit taller than I, but I could easily make myself quite as broad, just you see." So he blew himself out, and blew himself out, and blew himself out. "Was he as big as that?" asked he. "Oh, much bigger than that," said the young frog. Again the old one blew himself out, and asked the young one if the ox was as big as that. "Bigger, father, bigger," was the reply. So the frog took a deep breath, and blew and blew and blew, and swelled and swelled and swelled. And then he said, "I'm sure the ox is not as big as—" But at this moment he burst. Self-conceit may lead to self-destruction. To wrap up our travels in ancient Greece, let's conclude with a tale that is tried and true, and one that is always good to keep in mind when passing judgment on others, especially our friends. The Lion and the Mouse. Once when a lion was asleep, a little mouse began running up and down upon him. This soon wakened the lion, who placed his huge paw upon him, and opened his big jaws to swallow him. "Pardon, O king," cried the little mouse. "Forgive me this time, I shall never forget it. Who knows but what I may be able to do you a turn some of these days." The lion was so tickled at the idea of the mouse being able to help him that he lifted up his paw and let him go. Some time after, the lion was caught in a trap, and the hunters, who desired to carry him alive to the king, tied him to a tree while they went in search of a wagon to carry him on. Just then, the little mouse happened to pass by, and seeing the sad plight in which the lion was, sent up to him and soon gnawed away the ropes that bound the king of the beast. "Was I not right?" said the little mouse. Little friends may prove great friends. These tales are just a sampling of the many fables Aesop has penned that are available online. From lions to mice, birds to donkeys, these timeless stories are as relevant today as they were centuries ago. I hope you've enjoyed listening to them, have been reminded of the enduring morals they convey, and perhaps even discovered a new favorite among them. Thanks again for joining me on this journey through Aesop's wisdom. I look forward to having you with us next week for another enriching episode of Tales for Life. Until then, take care and have a wonderful day.